think we can case study at all. And yes, as MC rightly said, I'm Anthony, and I'll be taking us through the workshop, basically. That's plugging AI into your application. Nothing fancy. The fancy people, they've done it already. Mine is not fancy. Exactly. So mine is a bit pragmatic. Looking at the reality on the ground and see what you can do. We are not going to be using any fancy models or anything. So don't expect, when I say AI, don't expect anything new. Exactly. So yes, once again, I'm sure if you were here yesterday, you've already seen this already. Part of the Django Software Foundation, PSF, Python Software Foundation, Python Ghana. These are all places I volunteer at Addae. I'm currently with the Django Node space, where I contribute to the Django project. Volunteer at Girls, Django Girls, and Humble Data. So, for the ladies, you can see the girls, right? You can check it out. Like if there's event on them, you will see it, and then you can join if you are open to it. The Humble Data is general for the boys. There's something for the girls, there should be something for the boys, isn't it? So for the boys, you have Humble Data. Anytime they have event, you can apply and then get into it. It's mostly about data science. It's Humble Data. So the agenda for today, first of all, we'll take a look at the AI hype and then the reality on the ground. Then we'll take a look at some patterns we can use for integrating AI into application. Then we'll look at the tools and stack. And then finally, the real goal as to what you want to achieve with the AI. So for the hype, it's not like you're not part of this world. And it's not that I'm now reading the news. It's all over. We've all seen the hype. The chatbot, the co-pilot, the intelligence, everything. Even if you are coughing now, they say you can do AI. So, but when we're actually trying to plug AI into our existing applications, we are looking at existing applications. Right? Not like we are starting out trying to do something AI, no. Existing applications. I'm assuming you have projects already. That you have to add something to it. Some people would usually abandon the whole project and start re-architecting their problem around AI. That's not the way to go. So, but then the reality is that in all of that, latency will hit you, which means there will be increase of time to get responses and stuff. Or even two people are trying to make a query to that your model, and then all of a sudden it's taking forever. We have token limits that is available on these models. I know there are free models that you can work with, but I mean, if you're looking for something really good to use, you definitely have to have some cap. Initially, ChatGPT started out, so you can just be sending. Now, I think last month or maybe in the middle of the year, there was a cap. You use more than actually, you've exhausted it, isn't it? Then the cost implication is also there. There are these machines. But you should just type hi. And those of you who say, please ChatGPT. And then thank you, ChatGPT. That thank you alone you are sending. A lot of machines are winding at high speed just to reply. It's like, we don't need the high. What you want to ask? Just ask. It's like, just ask. So yes, the cost implications are so deep. And then the very important one is where you store the data. It's the storage. That's also something you have to consider. So for the next thing over here is the integration pattern. The first one we want to take a look at is the retrieval augmented generation. If you were part of the hackathon I think one of the speakers mentioned it. It's majorly the core of most AI stuff that we do. If you get your head around it, you can implement your own stuff in there and make it custom. You don't have to go pick maybe an eraser out of a math set. Because you want an eraser, you went to buy a math set. It's okay. You can just go and buy the eraser and then you don't need everything else in the math set. So basically what we say, retrieval augmented generation, which is RAG. I don't want to go technical, but it can get very technical. But let's see how we can just wrap our heads around it and then move on. So simply, how does it work? You ask a question and then it retrieves relevant chunks from a vector database. When we say vector database, relevant chunks, how best can I say this? So the concept translates the writing of the data into its vector database. We all use vectors, right? Into vector numerical representations where the computer can understand. Exactly. That's all it is doing. And then the next thing is it tries to augment the prompt with the context that you provided. And the last thing is that there's an LLM, which obviously LLM is a generating model based guide that generates the final answer. That's the whole thing. Is that okay? As simple as you can get it. So in diagram, basically this is what we are saying. You need to have a knowledge base for it to operate. It can't operate in a fraction once again. And as the previous speaker said, it's not about the safety data, it's about the quality of data. Is that it? So yes, you need to have your knowledge base, which is the storage. Then the LLM fits on that knowledge base that can already be converted into the relevant context for you. So your query is coming in, and the LLM will look at it and then give you the response, basically. And for the most part, when you want to get technical, it's more of trying to continue your prompt or your query. It's not exactly like the way, how are you, I'm fine. No. It's more of how are you usually goes with, I'm fine. So if you say I am fine, I don't know if you get the concept, but yeah, basically, yeah. Another way you can go about it is to have a hybrid architecture where you catch some of the outputs into Redis, and then so basically overhead addition is just caching, basically. Exactly. And then the fallback in the event that it misses, so that you're not constantly engaging the model to get the information. And then the last part, I think that's the last pattern I'm going to be talking about, which is the AI add-ons, and not an AI rewrites. So most things, when I was starting out, I was saying that most people, when they have the application and then they want an AI feature, they will now abandon their existing project or product and try and build their product around the AI. It shouldn't be so. The AI is a tool. It's supposed to be used to solve what you want to solve. So instead, the same thing of AI as a feature layer. So I'll be showing in a demo a typical example of this scenario. So you look at the existing application, then you see how can you add value using the AI or the tool. The very same things you are doing, how can you make them easier or simpler for someone or you. So since it's a Python conference, maybe you have, which is usually the case, you usually go with the Fast API or the Django REST framework. And then these are your existing endpoints. Then you need something like Chroma or pgvector, an extension of Postgres. And then you have Pinecode that are available for you to store vector-based data, basically. Then you have the launching. The launching, you will not recommend it though, because it's also kind of like entirely different pipeline. But yes, you can use this as stated as optional. Then you have the Redis over there as your caching layer. Then you can also employ some of these LLMs, which is OpenAI, the Mistral and the Hugging Face models. And finally, you want to be able to package them using Docker so that in the event you are growing and you need to scale from the DevOps guide, you can easily go into Terraform or something and then you are scaling that. Now, question of the day. So when someone asks you, how do I add AI to my app? The real question should be, how do I add value without breaking what works? So you keep that with you. Now, to answer that question, you start small with RAG. As long as you understand how the context window is working, it shouldn't be difficult for you to implement a simple RAG on your system. Then, because you frequently access data, use the AI as an add-on and not to rewrite. That should answer your question. And that